Hi, good morning. My name is Aaron, and today I'm going to talk about the concept of love and relationships from the perspective of Shakespeare and in modern times. Usually, one views the past as something outdated, a place in time in where things were completely different from what we live nowadays. And although some aspects remain the same, some others are not as common in modern times. Hence, many elements of love that Shakespeare uses in his novels can still be seen nowadays, or were at that time a common topic. Let's take, for example, Romeo and Juliet, a novel that emphasizes in love versus duty in relationships, in where characters may be forced to choose between love and family loyalty, social standing, or even the law. Romeo and Juliet belong to families locked in a bitter feud. Their love defies their family's loyalty and threatens to dishonor them. The secrecy surrounding their marriage highlights the tension between their passionate love and their familial obligations. Juliet is pressured by her parents to marry Paris, a wealthy and respected suitor. This arranged marriage signifies the importance of social standing and family alliances in Veronese society. Juliet's defiance in choosing Romeo jeopardizes her family's social position. Furthermore, Romeo and Juliet's defiance, through fatal, exposes the absurdity of the feud and the limitations placed on love. Their deaths ultimately lead to a reconciliation between the Montague and Capulet's families. This bittersweet ending suggests that their love, though short-lived, serves as a catalyst for positive change. Overall, Shakespeare doesn't offer an easy solution. He portrays the power of love while highlighting the devastating consequences of neglecting social obligations. Ultimately, Romeo and Juliet serves as a cautionary tale about the destructive potential of blind adherence to both love and duty. On the other hand, the modern concept of love can't be summarized in just a few words or sentences. There are many definitions to that same feeling, like, for example, the following one. Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies. This is said by Aristotle. Or this other one. Love grants in a moment what toil can't hardly achieve in an age. This is said by Stendhal. Or like this last example. Love is blind. She said that nothing is all good or all bad, though sometimes it does not seem so. And bad is all we can see in our lives, while in the lives of others we see only good and feel envy. This is said by Lindsay Stans. However, what all have in common is the idealization of one person, placing that individual in a pedestal so high that one can't see all the negative aspects of them. At the very beginning of the process of falling in love, we humans tend to do that. That's why it is said that love is blind. But how bad is it actually? Most modern relationships nowadays are defined by many aspects, and it is usually attached to cultural related issues. Nevertheless, it all depends on how one was raised and the personal concept of love. However, the main reason that relationships end nowadays is usually because of one is idolizing that person, not viewing him or her as a full human being with both good and bad aspects. And when they show that other side of them, their partner realizes that they only fell in love with just one side of them. There are, of course, many other reasons modern relationship end or doesn't work out, like loss of trust, poor communication, a difference in priorities, lack of commitment, among many others. However, the last one says a lot about how modern relationship works. And there is a word to describe those encounters between two persons that are not fully committed to have a relationship, but are too attached to each other to call it a mere friendship. And this state of limbo is called situationships. And as said by Langlaise M., situationships may be experiences of romantic love without increases in commitment. Or, with other words said also by her, situationships are defined as romantic relationships with no clarity or label, low levels of commitment, but similar romantic behaviors as established by couples by means of affection and sexual behaviors and time spent together. The lack of commitment in situationships can come from different sources, such as insecurities, personal aspects, or even attachment avoidance, which is getting to be more common nowadays. And as explained by Wardecker, quote, attachment avoidance reflects an individual's discomfort with intimacy and closeness. This meaning that they prefer to be self-reliant and independent as opposed to interdependent and emotionally close with others. Furthermore, this last aspect can be taken as people not wanting to be emotionally vulnerable and preferring to keep things, discomforts, and problems for themselves rather than sharing them with a significant other, which can lead to a lack of communication between both parties and end up damaging the emotional bond between each other. Hence, nowadays, with situationships all around, and society standards and stigmas, the romantic bond between two persons seems to be something more difficult to actually achieve, not only because there's a lack of vulnerability, but also because of the lack of commitment. On the other hand, social media seems to play a significant role in relationships and how strong is the love bond between partners. This mainly due to a comparison aspect in which both or one partner creates through social media unrealistic expectations. It can be related either to physical aspects or in general on how a relationship should look like. Let's take, for example, Instagram posts. Usually, relationship posts show only the positive side of their relationship. It can either be videos of both of them showing love to each other, a trip to somewhere, a gift that someone gave to the other, among many other aspects. However, the bad aspects from their relationship usually are not portrayed in social media. Hence, by showing only the good side, other partners tend to believe that the relationship that they see on social media are perfect, which is completely untrue. Their realistic expectations can lead to a comparison on their current relationship, in which they can feel that their partner is not giving enough attention or love to them, or that they are not experiencing enough couple activities. Additionally, there is not a correct way of loving. However, there are healthy ways of doing it, like for example by establishing healthy boundaries between each other, as well as good communication, but mostly by not being emotionally unavailable. Furthermore, both parties need to understand that what is shown in social media doesn't portray the reality of a relationship as a whole, because the negative aspects are usually not publicly shown to people. Lastly, now comparing the love established nowadays with the one viewed from Shakespeare's perspective in Romeo and Juliet, there is of course still being engagements related to social interests and status, and also related with a duty with family in general. It is usually said by parents to their daughters or sons that if they marry someone that they don't view as a good partner, they won't get any type of approval for a marriage. Most of the time, the son or daughter will succumb to their parents' needs and demands. However, there are still cases like Romeo and Juliet in where they both don't pay attention to what society and their family says and end up running away from them. Hence, love can be a motive to overcome obstacles. Like said by Romeo, with love's light wings did I perch these walls, for stony limits cannot hold the love out. Which means that love can trespass many barriers. This shows that aspects from ages ago can still be seen nowadays. Furthermore, referring to the aspect said before about trespassing barriers with the power of love, let's take for example queer couples. Usually, depending on the family and in general how open-minded they are, they won't mind their daughter marrying a woman or their son marrying a man. Nevertheless, there are still parents and families with a close-minded view of love, in where they only perceive the bond between a man and a woman as correct, and everything else as morally wrong. Usually, being openly gay, lesbian, bisexual, or pansexual can lead to being in danger. This due to the hate that is shown towards this sector of society. And what's even more dangerous is being in an open queer relationship, not only because of the backlash that can come from society, but also because it is even illegal in some countries, in where the life of queer people can be ended just with a sentence. Hence, usually queer couples trespass this barrier. However, it is risky at times, mostly in countries in which this type of love is forbidden. The following quote from the novel Felix Ever After portrays in an interesting way how this feels for queer couples. Quote, "We build a world where we could love freely, a world where we could be ourselves, a world that crumbled the moment they found out." This is said in this book that I mentioned before by the author Kaizen Calendar. This meaning that usually this love needs to be kept a secret. However, those that show it to the world are brave, and in general they trespass this big stigma barrier that society places on them. All in all, one can say that there are aspects that are similar both in modern times and in Shakespeare's time. And overall, how love have changed over time is evident, like for example by taking in consideration all the problematics like the comparison with couples on social media or situationships. Nevertheless, there are still aspects that remain the same, like for example the fact that love still trespasses many barriers, like for example the duty with the family, to marry someone of their liking. And as said by Maya Angelou, love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope. That was my presentation. I hope you guys liked it. Thanks for listening.